The views expressed in this video are solely those of the author, Chris Rogers, and do not represent the views or opinions of the Catholic Softball Group. In 1571, the Ottoman Navy had already captured Christian outposts and was looking to capture Rome. Pope Pius V was well aware the fleet of ships that he had organized was outnumbered, so he asked everyone in Europe to pray a rosary for victory on the seas. In a miraculous series of events, the Christian forces of the Holy League were able to stave off the Ottomans in the Battle of Lepanto. Pope Pius V put into place the Feast of Our Lady of Victory in remembrance of this victory. 2 years later, it was renamed Our Lady of the Rosary. Over 400 years later, St. John Paul II added the 5 Luminous Mysteries to the Rosary so that people would meditate on Jesus' divinity on earth. In a world that had grown dark and callous through sin, one God stood firm against religious confusion and rampant heresy. The 17th century saw believers wallow in their guilt, forget God's mercy, and avoid Holy Communion out of perceived unworthiness. In a corrective move, Jesus appeared to Saint Margaret Mary Alacoque and requested that the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus be celebrated in reparation for lack of gratitude for the Eucharist and the sacrifice made present in it. This is not a harsh message, but one full of God's divine and human love. In the words of John's Gospel, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him." In order to shower his love upon us, God is not afraid to slug it out. Bark is a word that translates to ship. The bark of St. Peter is a symbol of the Catholic Church. Piloted by the Pope, this vessel is well stocked with the teaching of Scripture, the wisdom of tradition, the divinity of God in the sacraments, and the guidance of the magisterium. While the waters we sail to the distant shores of the celestial city might be choppy and full of storms, the beatific vision awaits us there. To quote Padre Pio, "Pray, hope, and don't worry." For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. This verse from chapter 9 of Isaiah was a preview of the type of kingdom Jesus intended to establish. Many people wanted the Messiah to be the type of king that would bring Israel back to the glory days of David. They wanted a military leader who would fight against their many oppressors. But Jesus knew that the real war was to be fought in a series of battles for souls. He was constantly reminding those around him that his kingdom was one of heaven, where peace exists forever. In the early days of baseball, the ball itself weighed half of what it does today. It was difficult to get much distance on any throws from the outfield. The teams also tended to play with 4 outfielders and just 3 infielders, excluding the pitcher and catcher. In the middle of the 1800s, teams started to experiment with moving one of these outfielders closer to the infield so he could stop the ball short and relay the ball to one of the bases. The point being that if the defense wanted to record an out, the last throw needed to be clean. The best way to get a clean throw is to have it stop somewhere first. While it is possible to get to heaven on a long throw, it's most likely that most of us are going to need to stop somewhere to get completely clean before we reach our destination. And we hope that stop will be short.